Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Warbird Wednesday. My name is Fred Bell, the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum, and today I am very lucky in that we actually have two intrepid naval officers who have joined us and brought in an F-18, a G model, the Growler, which is one of the newest aircraft in the fleet. We're going to talk about that and learn a little bit about the airplane. I'm really excited about this. These are guys from Test and Evaluation Squadron 3-1 up at China Lake. And my naugatory assistant is with me today. We're outside and they're in flight suits. So this one we're going to really hustle. Greg has put me in the obligatory hat. Now these guys are looking at me like, oh my God, am I going to have to wear the hat? I'm like, they don't have to wear the hat. Greg, obviously for the Growler, I guess the teeth, Greg, I'm growling. Is that it? Yeah, there you go. See, Greg is always off camera, guys. He never gets photographed, but I end up in the ridiculous hat that he makes me wear. So I'm going to, Moonburn, this is yours, a gift from us to you.
All right, thanks, Greg.
No expense. And Princess, I couldn't leave you out. I got one for you, and you don't have to wear it, but we decided we'd get them hats. Now, this aircraft, first flight was in 2004. And it joined the fleet in 2009, I think.
This particular airplane is probably 2011 or so. In terms of the relative fleet of Growlers, it's perhaps one of the older ones. So the entire fleet itself is generally pretty young.
Wow. Now, we were talking about speed, and you said you had to really be slicked up, but about Mach 1.6, 1.5,
yeah,
comfortably.
A 1.8, the limit on the aircraft is 2.0, but
right.
Yeah, you'd really have to be pushing it to try and get up anywhere near that.
Now, what the thing about this is a derivative of the F-18, was more of a fighter and an attack airplane, the FA version of the airplane, but it's bigger. So tell me about that. It's a bigger airplane?
So this aircraft is a variant of the EA-18 Super Hornet, of the Foxtrot variant. It is the EA-18G Growler. So for any of the fighter guys out in the Navy watching, we will not call ourselves a fighter, even though it's based off of the same aircraft. So a little bit different wiring, some more weight in the aircraft, but essentially the same aircraft, but now with electronic attack capability versus the strike fighter role.
Well, now come on, the F-117 is a stealth fighter. We'll give you a little bit of...
there we go.
Yeah, there you go. We'll give you a little bit of variance there.
We got a pointy nose. We got a radar up front. Yeah. We shoot missiles.
You shoot missiles. You're close enough. It quacks like a duck. It's a fighter.
Again, in the comments, we'll see the Navy fighter guys.
I'm sure. I get them all the time.
Yeah.
So the hard points on the aircraft, it has 6 hard points and a center line, correct?
Exactly. So as you'll see, there's 3 pylons on each wing, a center line hard point, and then 3 again. And then we have our 2 wingtip stations are now holding the ALQ-218 system out there for receiving enemy radiation. And
now we're gonna get Princess in here. Now you gotta talk to me about the sensor system that's on the wingtip. So that sniffs up basically passively all of the radio emissions?
Yeah, it's like we were saying, it's the ALQ-218 system. It's really a system that's integrated throughout the entire aircraft. So there's sensors in the nose, the tail, and then most of the way you can see those on the wingtips on either side. And what that does is detects radar emissions on the ground for threat radar SAM systems, like surface to air missiles, so that we can detect them and hopefully locate them to help prevent our actual fighter rather than getting shot down by the surface to air missiles.
Now the cool thing about this too, and you brought one in, I'm so glad you did, you actually have a pod on the center line. Without getting too far into this, maybe explain what these pods do and kind of their purpose.
Yeah, so with the 218, this is like our primary weapon system on the aircraft. Those two really in conjunction. So the ALQ-99 is a tactical jamming pod. It typically in our mission will carry 3 on the aircraft. So 1 on the center line like we see here, and then 1 over on Station 9 and 1 on the other side on Station 3. Each pod has 2 transmitters in them that are steerable 360 degrees.
Wow.
And they can be switched out based on the threats that we know from intelligence on the ground for different frequency ranges to then target those different systems on the ground that we know are out there. So we can switch them out for all 6 basically transmitters that we carry on a typical mission to customize it for what we need. And we can target those threats as needed.
Now, that little propeller on the front is not designed to make you go faster, right? That actually is there for...
Yeah, so that's a RAD-G. It's a ram air turbine generator for the pod. So all the power for the pod is just generated by that little generator there on the front of the...
People don't realize that, but if you ever see that on military aircraft, that actually generates the power for whatever the pod is. A lot of backup power on aircraft on jet fighters, they'll have a deployable one of those where they can pop it out if they lose. I don't know if you have it on this bird, but a lot of the older Century Series fighters had something very similar to that, where it would pop out into the airstream, and that could give them a little, basically emergency power. You were in trouble, you had to jump out of the airplane one way or another, but you might have a little bit more electrical power. But this is something fairly standard now with anything I've ever seen. So let's talk about the airplane's rated out Moonburn to 2 Gs. What's the flight profile of the airplane? How do you, and what I mean by that is, how do you keep it? Are you nap of the earth? Do you fly high when you're let's say you're flying a SEAD mission, suppression of enemy air defense? How do you do that?
So generally, we'll be up considerably higher. So we'll be up higher behind the strike package, trying to support them. So not nearly pulling as many Gs up at altitude as the air is a bit thinner, but really just trying to push in behind them and then launching any of our harm weapons as necessary to the high-speed anti-radiation missiles. But then potentially we could come down low. It's not really a mission set of ours, but the aircraft can do 550 knots along the deck down,
So unlike what we're seeing right now, you're not flying the canyon of the Death Star or anything going down that. Yeah. You don't go in that low.
No, generally everything's done. So it's not quite like the movies where you're going to see everybody, pulling a ton of Gs like Top Gun. We'll be up high, kind of shooting our stuff really beyond where you're going to be able to see us.
That's very cool. So, now, if you are detected, what are the defensive measures on the airplane? I mean, other than the electronic, I'm going to get to Princess there in a second, but what do you have as far as active defensive measures on the airplane?
So really, that the ALQ-99 pods, the tactical jamming pods, are our primary defense. Other things that we have, again, I mentioned the high-speed anti-radiation missile. We'll be able to go after surface-to-air enemy sites that light up. We'll be able to shoot them. And then we also have the ALE-47 as a countermeasure suite to put out chaff and flare.
So when we're talking, I'm going to use my handy-dandy, whatever this is. This is an F-18. On the airplane, so you have chaff dispensers on the back of the aircraft?
Yeah, they're underneath here, just forward of the wheel wells.
Okay, yep. So chaff and flares?
Exactly,
okay.
Yeah.
What would be the primary, if you're looking at a Tier 1 adversary, is that the S-400 on a Russian side, or what?
It all depends. So it really, there are many different air-to-ground sites, enemy surface-to-air missile sites that potentially we could go after. It depends on if they're strategic, they're tactical. It kind of all depends, but that's the whole goal, is that, as he mentioned, the pods, you can switch out the transmitters depending on what Intel says that we're going to go after. So we have a broad range that we can attack.
Now, Greg can throw up a plan view of the airplane at this point so we can get an idea of the geometry of the aircraft. Now, I'm going to go back to Princess for a second. So as the electronic warfare officer, did I do it right?
Yes.
I like that. See, I slowed down. I want to make sure I do it right. As electronic warfare officer, are you the guy basically looking at the bad guys and then shooting at them? Or does Moonburn shoot at them? Or how does that work?
So we kind of delineate the tasks within the aircraft. So as the EWO in the back seat, I'm kind of operating the 218 system, looking to detect and locate those those systems on the ground, and then working our way up. So I would be operating the jamming pods as well for the most part, and then Moonburn on the other side would be working at the top of our kind of like matrix that we use. So he's more for positioning, and then working his way like using the radar for air to air, and then we kind of meet in the middle where we'll be working on like employing harm weapons against those surface air threats.
Well, an air-to-air threat would be similar in a flight envelope to the fighter guys or whatever, right? You're basically knife fighting up there, trying to figure out how to get advantage, or you're trying to bug out, right? One or the other.
Exactly. Generally, we'll have our strike fighter guys go in ahead of us and clear the lane for us to go through and follow them in. But potentially, we could be stuck in an environment where they're either out of missiles or we have other pop-up threats that we have a radar and we're able to shoot the AIM-120. So we'll definitely defend ourselves, defend any of the other friendly aircraft out there. So what he's saying is, I'll be looking. It's a great crew concept that we have in this particular aircraft, and it might be, I don't want to say unique to us, but particularly with all of what we're able to do with air-to-air, air-to-surface, and electronic attack jamming, we can split the cockpit where I'm doing a completely separate role as him. So I'm sanitizing the airspace at the time when he's doing jamming. And we may not even talk to each other. We may just be focused on our role at the same time, getting the jet to do multiple mission sets at the same time.
So really, it's kind of like one head up and one head down, right?
Yeah,
one
exactly.
guy's working the instruments, the other guy's kind of making, as you say, sanitizing the airspace. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes the aircraft unique for us, is that we have such a broad range of mission sets. That kind of the jack of all trades, master of none, but we are the electronic attack master. So that is our primary mission, but we're able to do others as well.
So, and I'm going to shoot this at Princess. If they know you're in the neighborhood, they know you're there because they're sniffing too, right? And even if you're passive, you've got to be emitting something that maybe tells them that you're there. Do they just turn their stuff off and say, "Oh, I'm not going to let you see me today," or how do they react when they know when an enemy air defense knows you're there? How do they react?
Well, that's one of the great things about the Growler is even if we get them to shut down, then we've basically done our mission.
Right.
Because if we shut down their radar, they can't shoot down the strike aircraft that are going in there to drop a bomb. So that's really probably the number one goal for our mission, is to do that. If we are able to actually target their systems with a harm or some sort of weapon, that's great, but our primary mission is to get them to shut their weapons down just long enough that the strike aircraft can get in there through the threat sector, drop their bombs, and get away without getting shot down. So really, if they know we're there and they shut their systems down, that's great news to us.
Now, let's talk about the harm a little bit, because homing anti-radiation missile, did I get it?
High-speed
anti-radiation missile. It's good. I'm glad I have you guys here. So correct me. So it basically takes data from the avionics in the aircraft, and then basically in very simple terms says, okay, bad guy or emitter here that I don't like, and it goes after the emitter, though. I think a lot of people think it goes after the radar. It really doesn't. It goes after the antenna, right?
Yeah, so like if you have a SAM system, they're going to have a lot of different vehicles out there that have the actual missiles on them and the radars, and that high-speed anti-radiation missile, the HARM, is going to go after that radar on one of those vehicles, because most of those systems are not going to be driving around with multiple radars. They'll have like one of a specific type of radar, and if you're able to take that thing out, then it'll be destroyed for at least a few hours, which is long enough that for us to do what we need to do. So,
and it basically, if I remember correctly, sprays it has like ball bearings or something that basically it fragments, and it's designed to have a pretty good blast area, doesn't it?
Yep. So if that radar is emitting, it'll basically home on the emitter, and then at a certain range above the ground, it'll basically have its blast fragmentation come out in a big circle with a bunch of like tungsten cubes, I think, or depending on the type of missile that it is, and it'll basically be designed to like shred cable lines or break up radar dishes. It's really not going to do a lot of damage against, say, like a tank type vehicle, but all the really like soft things,
the little soft bits
of the vehicles, it's gonna destroy all that stuff, and gonna take a lot of time for the enemy to repair that stuff.
Well, talk to me about, and I don't know who would be good about this one, but the AMRAM. Tell me about the AMRAM a little bit.
Sure. The AMRAM's designed really, once you can get a radar lock, that's its primary method of you lock onto the enemy, you shoot the AMRAM, and it's guided by
Just goes
radar.
away.
Exactly.
So earlier missile might be the Phoenix that was on the F-14, which is over the horizon.
Potentially.
Fleet aircraft,
Yeah,
or fleet protection missile.
Or the AIM-7, the Sparrow. Definitely probably a shorter range missile, but those are kind of all the legacy missiles, and now the advanced is AIM-120.
I have to figure out, I have to be a legacy person. I'm not old. I'm just a legacy now. I'm just really
There you go,
old.
Perfect.
There you go.
It's like the Legacy Hornet.
There
You
you
know,
go.
we all love the Legacy Hornet.
There
It's a
you
little
go.
older, though.
So the you have Sidewinder on the aircraft. Can you
So this
find
particular
infrared?
aircraft, eventually that's what we're working towards. I don't know that it really complements our mission set, but particularly the Super Hornet, both the Echo and the Fox version have Sidewinders that they'll carry on the wingtips. And the newest AIM-9X, the ability to high-off boresight shots is really where you're going to win in the air-to-air
Why don't you
environment.
explain that a little bit so people understand that really is, when you think about dogfighting, you
Yeah.
think about, you point the pointy end at the other guy, right? And you're
Yeah.
shooting at him and you're going to shoot him down. And that really isn't the
I'll
case.
use your model
here.
if you don't mind here.
There we go. There you go.
Make sure I don't break it. So if you're the enemy and
Yeah.
I'm over here, it's hard to get my nose around. So what we want to do with the AIM-9X and by Hobbs high-off bore sight is I'm going to look at you in a dogfight. It's hard to get your nose around on the aircraft. You want to maintain what speed you have, or you want to bleed all your speed to get your nose
Right.
around. So depending on what you want to do, you want to be able to look up, and I want to be able to see you and get the missile to come off and to fly at you. So that the higher I can get that, the easier I don't have to put my nose all the way over pointed at you.
And that's a reticle in your helmet, right?
It is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. This is the fun part I always enjoy, getting the airplane back on the stick. So
Okay, it's sitting there, so if it
there
breaks,
it goes.
it's not me.
There you go. It's safe.
Yeah.
So a lot of the other air forces have that, and we've talked about. I think the MiG-29 has that too, which is that reticle in the front, isn't it?
Exactly.
And so basically, it's kind of a look off. Have we perfected that technology?
I wouldn't say that we've perfected it, and I'm also not the subject matter expert here. As I said, our aircraft, the Growler itself, does not carry the AIM-9X Sidewinder, but the Super Hornets do. And I would say where it's at now is a good place for close-in air combat maneuvering. However, think about where we want to go is a high-end fight. You may not be in that air combat maneuvering. So that's why you're going to prioritize shooting your AMRAM at long range. And if you do find yourself there, you still want to be able to win at that fight, particularly against some of the more maneuverable aircraft. So you want to be able to look up, find your target, and shoot him in a high-off bore sight environment.
That to me is just such cool stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Star Wars stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You see in your helmet,
yeah,
you
see
it's
when
great.
you get the thing, and you're like, oh, all right, I'm going to get that guy.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, sorry, I was going to continue one
keep
of the
going.
things. So you think about that, though. You think, hey, I'm just going to look up, but imagine doing that at 7.5 G.
Oh.
So, and you're holding here, you got to hold the stick in one hand, so that way you're looking up and trying to find him and then lock him up. That's the hard part, and that's where really it's an athletic job to fly.
Not to mention the physics of it, just the missile coming off the rail,
Yeah.
and the physics involved. People don't realize that, how hard that is sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
And to make all this technology do what you want it to do.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, we just fly. The engineers, they do a great job building
Well,
it.
we're going to talk about VX-31 now, though, and you guys are our salute today. Now, another thing we do is Greg goes out and buys the most vile soda. The deal was I wore the hat and I drank whatever disgusting drink he got. That was the deal, and he does the edit and some of the other stuff. And so he gets all this really bizarre stuff. Now, I was going to share this with you today, but...
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah. But I decided against it. He must have got a run on Jones product. This is a Jones cane sugar. They got the memo. Everything is cane. Somehow people think marketing and cane sugar gets everybody excited. This is a cream soda, but the problem is it says vote 2020. So, Greg, normally I have no idea how old this stuff is. This one I know. It's at least 2 years old. So let's see.
I seem to remember him just coming and putting it on the table, trying to get one by us here.
Yeah. No, we usually have poison control on standby just in case. You know, botulism, I'm not sure how fast that kills you. But so VX31, today I wanted to do the salute because you guys are the flight test folks out of China Lake. And none of this, all the cool stuff that goes to the Navy, and all your other fighter pilot guys are going to now be going, oh yeah, these guys are taking credit for everything. But none of this. And China Lake is really one of the first. I mean, they had the first, the Sidewinder. They were involved in the Sidewinder, and they've done a lot of stuff that they've solved all those physics problems. And if they hadn't done that, that stuff gets to the fleet, and that's where you come in. Both of you guys are in the test side of things, correct?
Exactly. So, yeah, you talk about its Naval Air Weapons Center, China Lake, and that's what they've done. Their bread and butter is weapons testing. So I haven't done too much weapons testing. Princess has had the opportunity to shoot a few items, drop some good stuff that he can talk about.
Yeah, so China Lake, basically we're doing all the developmental testing for weapon systems prior to going out to the fleet. So a lot of, basically all the weapon systems that have gone onto the Super Hornet and the Growler over the past 20, 30 years have all been tested there prior to going out in the fleet. Right now we're testing, for the Growler itself, I'm the project officer for the next generation jammer, so that's something to replace these ALQ-99
really
pods to be more in line with the 21st century threat that we're looking to develop towards. For other weapon systems that we're testing ARGM-ER, so an extended range harm missile basically. We're testing new and improved AMRAAM. A lot of the other systems that we're testing down there is really software systems. We're continually producing or developing and testing software improvements for the aircraft. Basically every day there's something new coming on for individual boxes within the aircraft for upgrades or for the overall software system for the entire aircraft. So that's really our bread and butter in China Lake for weapons testing.
Well, today, to salute you guys, I am going to take a step into the unknown. Not only do you guys step into the danger zone here, we'll get into Top Gun, right? But I'm going to be drinking a soda that should have been sold in 2020. We know that. Oh yeah, Greg's like, yeah, just down it. Oh my. That is disgusting. That is absolutely awful. All right, there's 2 sips. That's the deal. Yeah, I know. See, Greg, you guys get the opportunity to actually see how evil he is on the other side going, there's 2 sips. Oh, this is gross. Oh, my word. All right, guys. Well, I've given you a hard time by giving you the little My Little Pony thing.
It's a princess for princess.
Yeah, you got your revenge because that is nasty. So now that I don't know that I have survived the salute, but we take one for the team there. But let's talk about and wrap up with data fusion. What can you tell me about? We know the F-35, and we've done an episode on the F-35. Yeah, he's going here. You have fun with that one.
Okay.
But the battlefield is changing, and you've got all these sensors and all this stuff that's integrated now. How does that change how you fight?
So it's quite revolutionary, really. Not revolutionary, evolutionary, sorry. In really what we take throughout not only onboard sensors, but offboard sensors, and then bring all of that data together, and it coalesces it together, or sensor fusion. So it's not as advanced as, say, the F-35, F-22, but what we're able to do is through, we call it multi-domain, bringing different elements and intelligence through different methods together to give us the best eye in the battle space, particularly over the water. You think about launching off of an aircraft carrier, you got to be able to get over the horizon intelligence updates, and that's what we're able to do with this aircraft.
So does you can die a death by 1,000 cuts with information. You can have all this information, and there's too much of it, and it doesn't mean anything because you can't interpret it. Do the systems that are all integrated basically interpret the information so that you can bring it right to the tip of the spear? I don't want to get too far into this, obviously, because we don't want to get you guys in any weird conversations. But does essentially does the electronics themselves help you kind of clean the information to the point where you can figure out how to employ it?
Absolutely. So that's where we call the Super Hornet and the Growler 4.5 gen aircraft. So we have the, I don't want to call it a legacy 4th gen airframe, but it's a 4th gen fighter and, us an electronic attack, but it's where our software comes in. And that's where we take all of this information and we're able to blend it together. And it's able to do that under the hood from all these different sources, blend it together and give us the solution. And then we can also, as operators, pick what we want to see if we know particularly one solution is better than the other. So we're able to have it all come together as one or choose what we want to see. And that's what gives us the best information through various methods.
So to wrap it up now, I want to talk a little bit about, it isn't easy to get where you guys are. There's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort. We've talked about that. If I'm a kid and I'm at home looking at this and I'm going, that looks really cool, I want to do that. Where do you, I mean, I know where I started and but when I started, airports didn't have all these fences. You could walk on the airport and talk to the pilots and talk to people. That's not the case anymore. Where should a kid start? I mean, obviously at the Palm Springs Air Museum with our simulators.
Absolutely, you guys got some good stuff out here.
But where would you suggest?
I mean, it depends on how old kids are out here.
Yeah.
From elementary to middle school, really, it's just coming out to the Air Museum, coming out to air shows, seeing aviation, getting your hands on, if you will, but also in school. A lot of most of the stuff we do now is in-depth kind of, it's really nerdy stuff, particularly test pilot stuff. So doing well in school to set yourself up to go to college or to get into the Naval Academy or the Air Force Academy,
so
if
math
you will.
and science are important.
Math and science are important. However,
I'm a biology major. That's science.
A biology major. There we go. All right, yeah. But you made it. You did it.
But really, we're looking for people. So, I mean, show your interest, tell your parents that you're interested, come out to the airport. I grew up as a kid, and I was fortunate enough that my brother had his pilot's license in high school, and so he was able to take me flying. But see if you can get a flying lesson, when you're in high school, or just an introduction to see if you like it. Some people don't. They get in, and it's like, nope, I don't want to do that anymore. But most people love it, and I was one of those that fell in love with flying. I love what I do every day in terms of getting in the airplane. The ground job is, that's what they pay me for. I fly for free.
It's a lot of paperwork to get in the air, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But work hard. I mean, that's the biggest thing that all of us have done to get to the point where we're at and never give up.
Do you, and I didn't even ask this off camera, I should have, do you fly as a dedicated crew? How does that work? Or do you fly with different pilots and different...
He's shaking his head like, man, they put me with this guy.
Yeah.
No, we fly with pretty much anybody. So they'll pair up a pilot, Wizzo, or EWO, and that's the whole purpose. Is the Navy trains you so well that you're able to get in the cockpit and know exactly what the other person is going to do. So Growler and Super Hornet are a little bit different since our primary weapon systems are a little bit different. So generally we'll fly with a Growler pilot and a Growler EWO. And then same with the Super Hornet and Wizzo. But definitely you can get in the airplane and know exactly what the other person's going to do because it's standardized. And the Navy does a fantastic job of training us to do that.
The other thing that's interesting about the Growler is Air Force crews fly with you as well. Weapons or electronic warfare officers fly with you as well, right?
Absolutely. So we are currently the only airborne tactical electronic attack in the DoD. So the Air Force sends some of their bright and talented folks over to fly with us. Originally, it started just with Wizzos turned EWOs for the Air Force, and then now we have pilots that are basically coming out of Air Force flight training and then going straight to our fleet replacement squadron to learn to fly the Growler, and they're coming with us. And it's paired up with expeditionary squadrons with Air Force and Navy folks all together.
Well, very cool. Yeah. Well, we want to thank you. We want to thank Butch and the command up at VX31 and you guys being down here. It's been a hot day and you've been just absolutely fantastic. We want to the museum. We're a military air museum, so we really appreciate your service. And I say to the people at home, you know, if you see active duty people, give up your seat, buy them a drink, buy them a hamburger, but they all deserve our respect, and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much for coming down here.
Thanks, Fred. I really appreciate it. Your museum's gorgeous, and we're happy to be here.
Well, thank you. And Princess, we appreciate you coming along and telling us all about these cool stuff. This is this is the future, by the way. I really do think all of this electronic stuff and what we talked about, that fusion on battlefield management, is that's where we're headed, and we're not going to be able to escape it. So you guys are on the cutting edge. So thank you. Now remember, you too. Well, first of all, if you join the Navy, you need a Navy parking sign. So go out and check our site for that. You also, if you are interested, you can check the site for your own Blue Angels F-18. We want to make you guys at home today. So that. Now remember, our educational guides are attached in links to our site. They're on YouTube or any of our platforms. If you found us on YouTube and you like the channel, all we do is long form military aircraft videos. Please enjoy that. And we want to give us a like and forward us to your friends. If you found us on Facebook, he didn't have to do it, but he is doing it. There you go. If you like us on, nothing like breaking my concentration there. If you found us on Facebook, give us a like. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum. Have a great day. Good job.